I don't just talk about other people's stuff, I also make my own. Books in particular. To date, I have 4 books you can check out on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Kaiju Wars Part 1, Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and the short story collection Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Hop on down to the description for Amazon links to all 4 books. Enjoy whichever ones you read, and enjoy the video. Every organization needs a recognizable logo, and in the MonsterVerse, the logo for Monarch looks like this. The big question is, why? Is it just a random shape, or could it actually mean something? And could that meaning actually say a lot about the group's purpose?
If I had to guess, most people who have watched the MonsterVerse movies don't think that much about the Monarch logo, even though it is a recognizable part of the brand.
It looks like 2 triangles attached at their points, forming an X shape with the left and right sides closed. Simple, yet instantly recognizable. It's the kaiju equivalent to the symbols used for Starfleet, the Rebel Alliance, and the Ghostbusters. It's even shaped in such a way that you can fit a capital letter M into it, which brings the branding aspect full circle. Despite it being such a big part of the brand, though, you don't often see fans discussing it. Even the behind-the-scenes material for Godzilla 2014, such as the art book or the DVD features, don't discuss how the logo was developed.
Now, it is possible that the logo means nothing. The design team was told to come up with a logo for Monarch, and this is what they went with. But that can't be true, can it?
Sure, Occam's razor says that the simplest answer is most likely the correct answer, but this feels too simple. Given how much thought went into developing every other aspect of Godzilla 2014, I find it hard to believe that the Monarch symbol was assigned at random. There's got to be more to it, because in my experience, no logo is ever chosen at random.
If you look through the history of symbols and logos, you will find that they were all designed with the thing they're meant to represent in mind, be they simple or complex.
For example, the original French flag incorporated symbols like the fleur-de-lis, but when the French Revolution occurred, this flag was rejected as representing the bourgeoisie, and was replaced with the simpler tricolor flag which was designed to represent the common folk. Early Christians utilized a fish to identify themselves to each other, but they did not just choose a fish at random. The fish was selected because several of the original disciples made their livings as fishermen, and Jesus had told them that he would make them fishers of men, hence a simple fish outline was utilized well before the cross was adopted. Speaking of crosses, Blue Oyster Cult drew their hooked cross symbol from alchemical texts, thus representing the otherworldly nature of their songs. The image itself was likely inspired by the Old Testament image of a serpent upon a cross, and a variant of this would retroactively become the yellow sign so often mentioned in Robert Chambers' King in Yellow horror stories. The aforementioned Starfleet logo was intentionally drawn to look like an upward-pointing arrowhead, representing both man's literal ascension into space and man's figurative ascension beyond the pettiness and conflict of modern times. The anarchy symbol, well, it really shouldn't even exist if you think about it, because that implies organization, which flies right in the face of anarchy.
The point is, symbols always mean something, whether or not that meaning is readily apparent. Okay, so having reiterated the obvious point that all symbols mean something, that still leaves us with the question of what the Monarch symbol means.
At a glance, the symbol looks like butterfly wings, which only seems to be reinforced by its pairing with the word monarch, a kind of butterfly. Now, aside from possibly being a sly nod to Mothra, it could also be referencing the butterfly effect.
If you're familiar at all with the sci-fi genre, you've probably heard of the butterfly effect at some point. The simplest variation of it is that if a butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the world, there will be a hurricane on the other side of the world. It's an extreme example of cause and effect that relies heavily on the idea of synchronicity. And actions having consequences certainly does fit into the kaiju genre, but is that really what the Monarch symbol represents? Does that even fit into the MonsterVerse?
Looking at the movies again, I can't really say that there's much in the MonsterVerse that screams butterfly effect to me. Heck, Godzilla 2014 makes a point of showing animals doing their own thing completely independent of what the humans do, which flies in the face of the butterfly effect. Sure, actions still have consequences in these films, but not in the way this theory puts forth. Ergo, I'm not sure this symbol has anything whatsoever to do with butterflies.
So if it's not butterflies, what else could it be? Well, maybe we're looking at this the wrong way, and I mean that literally.
Here's the symbol as we usually see it. What if we give this thing a 90-degree turn? What does it look like now? Most would say it looks vaguely like an hourglass, and I think this was the point.
You see, if this little hunch of mine is right, the Monarch symbol did not originate in the MonsterVerse, but instead originated in the real world.
Here's a different logo, and no, it's not the same one we've been staring at this whole time. This is the Extinction symbol. Who first drew it is open for debate, but most sources credit it to an artist who goes by the handle ESP. The symbol represents an hourglass, something that measures a finite amount of time by letting sand fall from one glass globe to another. Once the sand runs out, that period of time is finished.
Hence, it's a perfect symbol to represent extinction, because once the sand runs out, the time is up.
When we put this next to the Monarch logo, well, I certainly can't look at these two images and think the resemblance is a coincidence. The Monarch logo is the same image, just on its side and without the circle. But why is it on its side anyway?
Well, what's the best way to stop an hourglass from running out? Put it on its side.
That speaks to Monarch's mission. They were organized to prevent extinction, to stop mankind's hourglass from running out. Initially, it might have been focused entirely on preventing humanity's extinction. But in the modern day of the MonsterVerse, it takes everything into account, even the monsters that were once viewed as threats.
So there you have it, the most likely origins of the Monarch symbol accompanied with an analysis of what it means. Not bad for something that's essentially just an X with the sides blocked up. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni viewer signing off. Hang on, if this thing runs out, does that mean that I...
Congratulations, you reached the end. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to consider supporting us on Patreon. Of course, the other way to support us is to go to Amazon and check out our books, Operation Red Dragon, The Kaiju Wars Part 1, The Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Also check the description for links to DeviantArt and other platforms we operate. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.